You're listening to The Financial Outfitter, helping turn dreams into cherished memories. Sponsored by BPG Planning, purpose-based personal financial planning because it's about more than your money.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Financial Outfitter podcast. Thanks for sharing some of your most precious of assets, your time with us today. We believe that the sporting life and the pursuit of it holds the remedies to what ails the human spirit in a modern world. And we hope to encourage all of you to turn those outdoor pursuits and dreams into cherished memories. Today, we have a guest here from our SCI's international global headquarters, Barbara Crown. Thanks for taking some time and being with us today. I know your plate is full right now because you are not at home.
Correct. I'm actually at our headquarters. We've had some week-long meetings that we're doing. We had our Christmas get-together last night, and we're ramping up for convention and doing some team meetings to prepare for that. So I'm here through Friday.
So I want to come back to the convention thing here in a second, but I think it's obviously a good start to share with people because I think that there's a lot of members of SCI that don't even realize what it is that you do. So maybe give us a little snapshot of your responsibilities there, your role.
Well, I wear a number of hats for Safari Club International. I work very closely with our advocacy team and report to our members issues that affect them when they're traveling, when they're trying to import trophies, about any trophy import closure efforts, new regulations, new things from U.S. Fish and Wildlife. And I work closely with our advocacy team and then take what's going on, explain it to our members, and help our members understand what's happened, how it affects them, and what steps they need to take to safeguard their hunting opportunities and their shipment of trophies. So that's one thing I do. I also run SCI's Women Go Hunting program, which is a program that celebrates the accomplishments of women in hunting. And we bring together women of all hunting experience levels, from the mom that takes her family to make sure that they get their certificates, hunting certificates, and packs all their stuff for their hunting trips, to the woman who climbs to the top of the mountain and hunts a Marco Polo. So we bring all those women together. And then the other thing is that the main big part of my job is running the Hunter Information Service for SCI. And that is a membership benefit that is exclusive to SCI members.
And you know what? That's really the one that struck me. And you may not remember because it was probably 3 years ago, 4 years ago. It's easy to lose track of time, right? I was heading to Argentina. I saw this hunter hotline in Safari Club, the magazine. And I was like, well, I wonder what that is. And I called, and that was the first time I ever spoke to you. And afterwards, I brought up the conversation to some other members of the chapter, and they were like, I didn't even know that was a service. And I think that, but I'll be honest with you, for someone that is traveling internationally, and for me, that's when it all started, really, was, probably 3 to 4 years ago. I had no experience doing it, and I didn't know a lot of people that had at that time. And you were able to provide me with a wealth of information as to what I might expect, some things to look for, not just the importation of trophies, but very practical travel information. So do you get a lot of people calling you? I would think that a lot of people would, but I get this feeling that maybe it's almost underutilized by membership.
Well, more members have discovered me. They started putting my name, or rather the service name and phone number, on the back of membership cards, and we've completely revamped our website, and now the Hunter Information Service is very clearly posted. It's easy to see, easy to find, and all of the services and benefits from it are clearly listed on the website. So more members are finding the service and calling me and availing themselves of the things that I can do for them.
Well, I mean, I would just say from personal experience, you and I have had multiple conversations about trips that I was planning on going on, and your wealth of information, and that comes from a lot of years of experience. So maybe give us a little snapshot of your background in the industry.
Well, I was the editor at the Hunting Report newsletter for over 20 years. And while I was at that publication, I dealt with everything that would affect you as a hunting traveler on a daily basis. So, countries that would close, countries that would jack up the trophy fees, issues with U.S. Fish and Wildlife, with being able to ship trophies, with traveling with your firearms, with problem airlines, whatever it was that would affect a traveling hunter. That was something that we would cover. We would report on it. We would investigate it. And our reporting was, as I said, my style of reporting is, this is the problem. This is what has happened. This is how it affects you. And these are the actions that you need to take. I like to always provide my readers and our members with very practical information that they can put to use and make their lives easier and better and to avoid problems. And that's what I do for our members at Safari Club International.
I just think it's an invaluable service. And from my lone perspective, I meet a lot of people that say, I like hunting North America. And, well, so do I. But we've all noticed a fairly significant increase in the cost of doing business in the hunting industry in North America. That's, everything increases with inflation. But I always make the argument that if you haven't traveled, you probably are missing some amazing experiences that you can't have in North America. And you can do those things at a cost that you might be surprised.
Yes.
A quality elk hunt is one thing in the lower 48, but you jump to a whole nother level if you want to hunt moose or do something in Alaska. And there is, a plethora of hunting opportunities on multiple continents where you can have amazing experiences. And if somebody were to say, hey, look, I think I might like to try to hunt in a country other than, say, the United States, Mexico, Canada, right, North America, what do you think would be a good first trip for someone?
Well, depending on your interests, if you have any interest in Africa at all, I would recommend South Africa or Namibia as your first safari in Africa. Both of them have pretty good infrastructures. English is readily spoken everywhere in Namibia and everywhere in South Africa, so communication is not a problem. You are hosted and guided, accompanied by your safari operator everywhere you go. So there's no angst about where to go, what you're doing, how to get there. Everything is catered to you and taken care of for you. So the two countries are a little different, but they're both excellent first-time excursions into Africa. If you're interested in other kinds of big game, two other countries that would be great would be Argentina, where you can do red stag, you can do black buck, you can do a variety of big game animals. You can also do some fantastic upland waterfowl and doves and pigeons in Argentina. They have some great wing shooting opportunities if wing shooting is what makes your heart beat. And you get to experience another culture, but all the safari operators in Argentina speak English. And they make sure that they meet you at the airport. They make sure you're handheld, basically, from the time your feet hit the ground in Argentina until you leave Argentina again. So there's some really great opportunities there. Um, Excellent hunting. There are places in Argentina that you go up into the mountains and you would think that you're in the Swiss Alps. Beautiful country, great food. Um, Another place would be Spain. Spain has lots of great big game hunting, and it is a place that your non hunting wife will love to visit. There's lots of things to do in Spain, lots of shopping opportunities, lots of historical sites, lots of sightseeing. So you could go do a great big game hunt. Again, for red stag, for mouflon, for they have 4 varieties of ibex. If you love
Mm-hmm.
those wild horned animals, they have chamois. They've got wild boar. So there's a lot of things that you could do in Spain. The food is wonderful, and the sightseeing is great too. Each country is different because they're different countries. They have different histories. They have slightly different cultures. But they're all really great first-time experiences for hunters that are going outside of the United States.
I always think of Argentina, the Patagonia area, are like the steppes of the Andes. It's the American West 100 years ago. I mean,
Yeah.
if you like to elk hunt, the similarities between elk and stag are significant, and you can
Yes.
go there, be in the mountains or the foothills, and hunt a roaring animal and never see another person. There's no pressure. You don't even see an airplane flying over. I was there for
Hmm.
days, and you don't hear a car. You don't see an airplane flying over. It's remote, and then you have world-class fly fishing. So I think that Argentina has a lot to offer the person that loves the American West.
That's true. I remember when I got off the plane in Bariloche
Mm-hmm.
and stepped outside, I went, this looks a lot like Wyoming.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
So
Those
it's a
amazing,
great hunting destination.
amazing lakes and water and just general terrain. So you know you you have done a lot of writing. Um, you've been kind of in a role like this for a long time, but you've also done a good bit of hunting yourself, right?
I've been blessed, yes.
Yeah. Um, well, you know what? So, of all of your places that you've been, the experiences that you've had, what might be your most interesting or adventurous trip?
Oh, that's a good question. Because I have been on some really amazing hunts. I've been to Croatia. I've been to several countries in Southern Africa. I've been to Mexico. I've been to Argentina, and had some really great experiences. I hunted Balearian Bach in Spain, in Mallorca
Mm,
Island, which is
mm-hmm.
just another, guys.
Right.
If you need to pay back your wife,
Mm-hmm.
go to Mallorca, hunt Balearian Bach. Mallorca is a beautiful tourism destination. She will love it. And I hunted Balearian Bach there when they were working on saving that species because it
Mm-hmm.
was in danger of being lost to hybridization.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of domestic goats that were hybridizing with the Balearian Bach, and they were going to be hybridized out of existence. So I went there, met with the biologist that was in charge of the program to save that species, and got to go to a number of concessions and hunt with several different operators there. Had a great opportunity, great experience. But I have to say, my trip to Alaska for reindeer, not caribou, reindeer, and I'll explain that, is probably the one that was the biggest adventure. I'll explain it's reindeer, not caribou, because these were animals that were brought in from uh, Russia into the Aleutian Islands
Mm-hmm.
around World War II, before World War II, as a protein source for the natives on those islands. We're talking about the Aleutian Islands are a chain of islands way out. It's an archipelago way out into the Bering Sea. So we flew into Dutch Harbor. Everyone knows Dutch Harbor from Deadliest Catch. Landed there, refueled, and flew further out onto the Aleutian chain. So that was a real adventure, just getting there. I was telling you earlier in one of our other conversations that I went out to hunt the reindeer, and we had a hunting accident with our vehicle. Our Range Rover slid 75 yards down a hillside, off an embankment, hit the back end. Our guide was ejected. I was hunting with Eva Shockey, Jim Shockey's daughter,
Mm-hmm.
and she was the only one wearing a seatbelt, so she was the only one that didn't get jostled around. I ended up in the driver's side with my head on the ground. Thankfully, I didn't crack my head,
Wow.
but I sprained my neck. Our guide cracked his ribs. Hunt was over. We all went back to Anchorage, back to the ER,
Oh my.
made sure we were okay, flew back home. 2 months
Oh,
later, they said, "Hey, would you want to come back?" I said, "Yeah, of course." I got on a plane, went back out to Alaska, did my hunt, took a beautiful caribou, or rather, sorry, reindeer. Alaska Fish and Wildlife would not like to be hearing them called caribou. So took a beautiful reindeer. Um, and then we finished early. So they had a plane come in to take us into Dutch Harbor early because the weather can change at any time and you can get stuck out there. So if you're done and you have clear weather, you want to
wow.
fly out
Yeah,
of the
you want to
Aleutian
get out.
chain. We flew, got on the plane, and I realized this is a Grumman goose, a historic plane.
Right. You.
Um, and I knew what it was. I was just, oh my God, what a great opportunity. We actually did a water landing in Dutch Harbor, which is a great experience. And then we were stuck for 3 days in Dutch Harbor because there were no flights going out. And all of the fishing crews were coming in. So the hotel was filling fast. We ended up having to share a hotel room. The group of us had to share a hotel room the second night. And then the third night, we were going to end up either renting a car and sleeping in a car or sleeping in the lobby because there were no rooms. And the Deadliest Catch crew was in, and they took all the conference rooms over. So we couldn't even sleep in a conference room. So we're in the bar crying in our beer. And we told the waitress, and she said, "Hold on a minute." She went off, talked to somebody sitting over at the bar, and introduced us. And it was a local who had built some housing for the construction crews that were working in Dutch Harbor. And he let us sleep in one of those houses that night.
Wow.
So it was a real adventure. And, it
I'll
was just
say.
one of those classic, you got to roll with the punches
Mm-hmm.
and just look at it as this is an adventure.
Mm-hmm.
And that is probably the one that sticks in my head the most.
Wow. You had everything, and you had to
Yes.
go up there twice to do it. That's
Yep,
not that travel is arduous, and that's a lot of flying.
it
Yep.
is, but it was just a very rewarding experience. I would do it again in a heartbeat.
So, speaking of challenging adventures, what might be one of the crazier, more challenging situations that you've had to help a traveling hunter with?
Oh, there's a few of those. Um, I've had members that have called me wanting help with issues with their trophies, issues with firearms that may have been stuck in another country um, because they got sick and they had to be evac'd out, but their firearm was left behind and now they don't know how to get it back to them.
Mm.
But there's a couple. One really stands out. There was a member who um, he basically was sucked into investing in a lion conservation program that did not exist.
Mm.
And it was an operator that he had hunted several times with, someone who had stayed in his house when he came to the States. He considered him a friend.
Mm.
And he was talked into investing, I want to say it was like $40,000 into this conservation program that this operator supposedly had, and gave him a contract, promised him a certain return. Everything looked legit. When it came time, he never got any return on it. He asked the operator several times. The operator put him off each time, gave him an excuse each time, and then just simply started ghosting him. Wouldn't even take his phone calls. And when he called me, he was really embarrassed because he was someone who was a very experienced businessman. He was in the engineering field, and he says, I'm not a child here. I've negotiated many things in my lifetime. I can't believe this has happened to me. He was very embarrassed. And I told him, this is not the first time I've seen it. You are not the first victim of such a thing. You will not be the last, because I've seen it numerous times. And there are telltale signs that you have to look at. And I helped him to understand, it's easy to become a victim when you trust someone and you consider someone a friend and you've been to their place and, you have that rapport with them. So once we got past that, I said, okay, so this is what we need to do. We're going to call. I'm going to try contacting the operator, because my first order is to try to resolve the issue amicably. If I can't do that, then we go to the next level. So we tried contacting the operator. I went to the association, and then I went to some government contacts that I had. And they all kind of looked at it, and they all said, this is a civil thing. There's nothing that we can assist with. So the next thing I did was, through my contacts, I was able to help him find a very reputable, very competent legal firm in the country where the issue took place. And lo and behold, he has been in a court decision. The decision was in favor of the hunter, and the outfitter is now forced to return all the money to him, or his assets are going to be auctioned off by the government. So, I mean, that's very satisfying to help a member get that kind of a resolution.
And that
most of them aren't that intense, aren't that,
well, and that wasn't even a hunting issue, really. I mean,
right.
This is invaluable, uncommon information that I would argue in and of itself is worth the price of a membership. Discount
$60.
Yeah. I mean, discount everything else that you receive as a member. If you're going to go someplace, having access to you as a member is worth the price. No,
I think so.
You could search your whole life and not come up with the contacts that you have had right there in that one experience. So, any interesting developments? Because obviously you're in San Antonio, it's a new location for SCI. Any interesting developments for the coming, in 2025?
Well, I will tell you that SCI is growing.
Mm-hmm.
We have more and more chapters. We have almost 50,000 members, and we've got under our same umbrella, we have the Texas Trophy Hunters Association, and all the events that Texas Trophy Hunters does. We've also ventured with Cinegética in Spain, which is one of the largest hunting shows in Europe. And we're going to be working with them to grow that show. They currently have, I believe, about 300 exhibitors. The convention, SCI's convention in Nashville, has 800 exhibitors. So we're going to plug our exhibitors who support Safari Club International and other outfitters who want to support Safari Club International and the mission of SCI. We're plugging them into these other marketing opportunities and bringing more and more people into the fold through our advocacy programs and just the other member benefits that we have.
Yeah, the expansion of SCI and the network of other organizations I see is a critical and I think brilliant strategic step given the global climate. Um,
Yes.
and it's not something that can be explained in a soundbite to someone who says, well, I just hunt whitetail here in Pennsylvania, or I just hunt ducks. Like they need to be willing to understand that the issues that we face as sportsmen and women know no boundaries. And without exception and without solicitation, I have heard the same points, concerns, and issues in any of the countries that I've been in with regards to the relationship between the hunting industry, if you will, sportsmen and women in that country and their government.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to be a global organization if you're going to stand a chance at addressing a global problem. And I think that is maybe a simple fact that a lot of hunters in the United States don't feel that they need to pay attention to. And the truth is that the environment has changed. The environment in which we exist as hunters has changed. And I think the way we look at our lifestyle also has to change. And that means engagement. So I think that those initiatives are incredibly important, even for someone that is only going to be or says, which I wouldn't minimize it, but say, I just kind of hunt in my own home state. So I'm glad to hear that.
Well, in addition to what we do internationally, and we do a lot internationally because we've now got a group doing advocacy in Canada. We have a group
Oh, and they need it.
doing advocacy in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
We have a whole branch of the organization in Europe that is going to the EU, tied into the EU. We're suing the government in Belgium over a trophy import ban. We've opposed the trophy import ban in the UK. We have partnered with the professional hunting associations in South Africa and in Zambia to work with them on doing advocacy in their countries and to work with them on increasing awareness of the value of hunting for conservation. And in addition to that, for those that say, well, I never go outside the United States, we have several attorneys that all they do is cover issues in the states.
Mm-hmm.
So if your state is trying to close, for instance, in Colorado,
Mm-hmm.
perfect example, where they were trying to shut down hunting for mountain lion and for bobcats. And we came in and with our chapters there, we supported the effort there to defend hunting of mountain lion and bobcat. And we were able to win against that proposal.
Yep, big
So
win.
that ballot box biology effort was shut down. And that sets a precedent because the
Mm-hmm.
anti-hunters, who by the way work day and night
Mm-hmm.
to shut down all hunting on principle, okay, they were going to use that effort in Colorado as a template to use it in other states.
Sure,
So by
absolutely.
shutting it down there, we really did something big, and that is in partnership with other organizations and groups on the ground. But if we did not pull together, we would have lost that hunting opportunity in Colorado.
You brought up the Women Go Hunting, and I think this initiative might be going on its third year. I'm not sure, but I do know that women are really the fastest growing demographic in at least the United States that are beginning to engage in hunting. Can you tell us a little bit about that program?
I'd be happy to. It's a program that was started by one of our volunteers and the wife of the president of our Safari Club International
Mm,
Foundation, Denise Welker. And Denise had this
mm,
idea that we needed to do something to bring women together to a place where they felt comfortable, where they didn't feel any pressures, because women have different needs than men.
mhm.
And when we go on hunting trips, we have different concerns than the guys. And some women feel intimidated about asking about those things. And I remember when I started hunting, everybody in camp was a man, and I was the only
Mm,
girl. And it could be a little intimidating.
sure.
So we want to create a what we call a safe space for women to come and discuss issues that affect them as hunters, and to just connect with other women, network with them, find new hunting partners, find opportunities that are good for women, and just celebrate the accomplishments of all women in hunting.
Hmm.
And our thought is we're all concerned about the future of hunting and how we're losing hunting numbers. We're losing the number of hunters. We have less and less hunters. Well, if mama hunts,
Hmm.
guys, the
Yep.
whole family
Right.
hunts. So if we want to save hunting, hook the women. Because if mother will hunt,
Yeah.
all those kids will hunt with you. You won't have somebody saying, I don't want that animal on my wall. You're not taking my child to go do that. Oh, no, no, that sounds too dangerous. I don't want my kid going to do that. She's going to go with you.
Hmm.
She's going to be your companion. And
So,
she's going to make sure that your family goes.
right. Absolutely. And even if they're women aren't fully engaged, I think the exposure and the camaraderie that develops there make them maybe more receptive to other family members going and giving
Yes.
them the freedom to do that. Even the financial freedom, because let's face it, the sport. There's nothing we do that's cheap, right? And household budget's an important thing. So when everyone's rowing in the same direction,
When you're talking about having to do two vacations
mm,
because
right,
your wife and kids don't hunt,
right,
if they hunt, then this is your family experience. And you hunt and you make it a family outing.
you go to Hawaii,
So yes, you can go to Hawaii.
right?
There's lots of good hunting
Lots of
opportunities in
hunting.
Hawaii, and there's not a woman in the world that doesn't want to go to Hawaii and
There you
go
go.
go sit out on the beach.
Right,
And there's not a guy or a family that doesn't want to go fishing in Hawaii.
there you
So
go. So, what is the program that SCI has women go hunting? Isn't it like a submission that women can submit photos, or what's that about?
yes, there's a number of things that we do. We have a challenge where women can submit a photo entry into the SCI Awards, uh, hunting awards,
Hmm.
and you can submit a photograph of any hunt that you've been on that you've taken an animal that is recognized in the record book, and we include zebra and giraffe as photo submissions in the record book. And you submit your photograph, and there's 10 categories that you can submit it in. There's a category for each of the continents. We've got a category for turkeys, for wing shooting, and for a youth hunter, so young girls, and for a first time entry into the awards program. And then at the end of the challenge, we draw winners in each of those categories, and you can win a free gift card for Proas hunting gear. And we
Great
share your
company.
photographs and your stories on all of the SCI platforms. So you're on the website, you go on our social media, your photograph and your story might get into one of the publications.
Hmm.
So that's one thing. And then we have our booth at the convention,
Hmm.
and you can come by and participate in our free sweepstakes for women only. And this year, Legends Ranch has partnered with us. They've given us 3 packages for 2 women for each package. to go to the Legends Ranch and participate in their Hunt to Learn program. So they will take you from firearm safety and everything that's involved in that and shooting, and then they take you out on a hunt for a white-tailed doe, and then you get to learn how to gut it yourself, cape it, butcher it, all of that, bring it back, and then how to cook wild venison, some different recipes for wild venison. So it's truly
Wow.
the whole experience.
The whole, cradle to grave.
So we're going to give away 3 of those. Women only can enter into that sweepstakes. It's a free sweepstakes. Doesn't cost you anything. And then we have our mix and mingle event at the convention. The first year we started, I was shooting to have 100 women, and I was sweating bullets because it was our first year, and I was like, oh, please God, let us have people come. If I get 50 to 75, I'll be happy. We got over 100 women there. We had 250 women show up.
Was that the first year it was in Nashville?
Yes.
Okay, I was there. Yeah, that room was full.
And then the next year we had 500 women show up. So now we've outgrown all of the spaces that were available to us in the convention center for our event. And we're going to be over in the Omni holding our mix and mingle. And hopefully we'll hit 700 women. That's what I'm looking for.
Wow, nice.
And it's a very laid back event. All women are welcome. Sorry, guys, ladies only. If you show up, I will turn you away at the door. And
so that's a separate event than your luncheon, the Friday luncheon?
No, there's not a luncheon, not for the women go hunting.
Okay.
But we do a lot of door prizes. We introduce women to some of their women icons that are in hunting, and different leaders that are in hunting. We introduce them to all the women of SCI that are making a difference for hunting. We have one of our attorneys, two of our attorneys, excuse me, in our advocacy team are women. We have many women throughout the organization who are really working to make a difference for hunting, and they get to come and meet those women and mix with them. And we have women outfitters and women PHs. I have a PH from Zimbabwe who's a woman who has taken several of our women members on leopard hunts, and they've taken leopards with her. So it's an opportunity to really just mingle with other women.
Yeah, fantastic and networking.
Ask all the questions that you want. Find all the resources that meet your needs as a woman in the field. And it's just a fun, casual event.
Yeah, that's fantastic. It is. That's great. Build that network. So we're getting close here, closing in on last light at the den, and it's the opportunity to just say, are there any final words of encouragement or maybe some resources you'd like to mention before we sign off?
Well, if you are going out into the field for the first time, going out abroad for the first time, you'll want to be able to access me and talk to me about where you're going, what you need to do. I can tell you what you need to do to import your firearms, what airlines are problematic, what transiting destinations are problematic with firearms. So I can help you to really avoid a lot of the pitfalls. I can help you when you're researching an operator. I can help you resolve a problem with an operator. I can connect you with other members who have hunted with a particular operator so that you can talk to them directly. I can help you with any number of issues that you might have importing your trophies. And if I don't know the answer to a problem, and I don't know everything, but because I've been in the business so long and I've connected with so many other professionals, I will know where to send you. I'll know how to get you an answer. So that's a real value, I think, in being a member of SCI, in addition to the fact that as a member of SCI, there's power in numbers.
Right.
And your $60 membership means a lot in terms of the power that your membership, in addition with the other members, has when we go to Congress, when we go to members of Congress and we say, we have X many members in your district.
Right.
And this is an important issue to them.
Yeah.
So just being a member adds power to that. And on top of that, you get some really great benefits. And I can help you with a lot of things.
So
and I love helping people. So I love what I do.
I know you do. There's two things. One, go get a membership. It costs next to nothing. It's less than a box of ammunition. You're crazy not to be a member. And two, who are you training to be your replacement? You can't go anywhere.
Oh boy, that's a good question.
I mean, seriously. I mean, when you decide to retire, well, there's going to be a vacuum of intellectual capital there.
Yeah, there's been a couple of times that we've tried involving a couple of other people to answer some of these questions. And, you know, the issue is, I mean, I had 20 years of experience in this.
Right. It's the relationship capital that you have. It's the years of experience. It's not something that somebody's going to learn from a handbook. So, well, Barbara, thanks for taking the time. I know you got a busy schedule and probably looking to, by the time people see this, it'll be months after when we record it, but we're right up against a holiday here. It's Christmas. So thanks again and safe travels back home. And well, I will definitely see you in Nashville.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for having me on the podcast. And I encourage everyone to go to our website, safariclub.org, and check out the benefits, check out the Hunter Information Service. And hopefully I will be chatting with you and helping you on your next great adventure.
Great. Thanks again.
Thank you.
We also want everyone to like us, follow us, and subscribe to the Financial Outfitter podcast at financialoutfitter.com. And when you do, remember you are becoming a member of the pack, not the herd.
Our mission is to promote new connections in the sporting community by bringing awareness to opportunities and issues that impact our lifestyle, challenge members to think critically about their role in the modern world, and help others to turn dreams into cherished memories. This episode is sponsored by BPG Planning, purpose-based personal financial planning because it's about more than your money.